First, in honor of the season, stuffing the turkey. Christmas list, the list of stuff of list, lots of items, lost items, last items, lots of coping, hoping, little surges of feeling, lots of people locked in situations, lots of stuff. Getting stuff, giving stuff, rearranging stuff, emoting over stuff, desiring stuff, lacking stuff, purchasing stuff, returning stuff, affording the stuff you buy, stuffing the buys in your Ford, a stuffy nose, hanging stuff, putting it up, taking it down, stocking stuffers, stocking up, preparing stuff, cooking stuff, stuffing the turkey, enduring, surviving stuff, hoping stuff, dreading stuff, celebrating it, loving it, regretting, remembering, crying about it, laughing over it, facing it, denying it, stuffing yourself, feeling stuffed, feeling. Voice. I have some things to say about voice today because I'm in the process of healing from a voice condition called spasmodic dysphonia. Now, here's what I sounded like 5 months ago.
87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty.
This condition began at a time of intense work stress. When I stopped, incidentally, when I stopped my own writing. So, how is this relevant to this reading? Well, first of all, you're listening to me. You're here because you believe in this intensely personal speaking with a voice and listening to a voice. Voice, I've discovered, is power. Power working in all directions. Politics, literature, gender, class, race, age, and just plain old being human. When one speaks of acquiring a voice in the broader sense, it's connected to acquiring listening. A new voice in literature means that some poor struggling writer has finally gotten published and people are reading the work. The story of being listened to is the story of finding your voice. Now, one of the things I've learned is that my voice changes all the time, and it's better at certain times of day, not 4 o'clock. But it works better when people are listening. But listening is rare out there, and heck, it's hard enough to listen to yourself. So this is why it's so wonderful to participate in the activity of reading. It's magic, this space in front of us. It creates power for me and power for you. Now, we write from what we listen to. And years ago, I realized that the stories from my family that I heard as a child were the deepest, most powerful material I had. So, one whole book later, here's excerpts from chapter 1, Legend of my Grandfather. My grandfather, Papa, was blind. He was not a real grandfather to me, having died before I was born. But unlike Pop, my maternal grandfather, on whose knees I could actually sit, my father's father, Papa, was not flesh and blood, but entirely constructed out of stories. He was thus a character like the characters I met in books that I was beginning to read. William Taliaferro, okay, I'll show you that later. William Taliaferro, for Papa, had no middle name. He was accidentally shot in the face in September 1901 while turkey hunting near Newtown, Virginia. He'd given a turkey call, and another hunter in the woods shot in his direction. He just turned 22 years old, was engaged to be married, and studying to be a doctor. This accident blinded him for life. But these mere facts were different from the legend of Papa, and the difference had to do with emotion. It had to do with wonder, fascination, even a touch of obsession. Facts are what they are, but a legend shapes your life. In my childhood, when Daddy would tell me about Papa, all around him in the air were squirming feelings, winking in and out of perceptibility. My father was acknowledged by everyone in our circle as a master storyteller, and in me, he had the ultimate listener, a spellbound sponge who sucked in whatever he projected. As a child, I felt the emotions like a big, weighty cloud, pride, stern application to duty, triumph in the end, admonishment to me to quit whining. Because look what happened to Papa and see how he triumphed over it. I had to be a good girl and achieve things because my grandfather achieved a victorious life against difficult odds. After the turkey hunting and accident, the next part of the legend was the romantic part. Because he could no longer support her, Papa released my grandmother, Daisy, from her promise to marry him. But she didn't give up on him. A year after his accident, after he had proved to her, and more importantly to himself, that he could earn a living by farming, they were married. They went on to raise 9 children. Now, the last part, the triumphant part, my grandfather raised fruit and vegetables used in pickling. In a published interview, my Uncle Trent claimed that Papa had hundreds of farmers growing pickles for him, with 5 brining stations within 50-mile radius. But my favorite part of the article concerned how Uncle Trent served as Papa's seeing eye child. As a child, he drove his father in the buggy to Taliaferro, the county seat, on court days and listened to cases and arguments. As other children came along, they also took turns as Papa's eyes in a kind of rotation system. A child would stay out of school for 1 whole year, serving as a guide to Papa. Then that child went back to school and a different child began to accompany him. This, one of my favorite family stories, concerned the time when Papa bought the first car. Aunt Daisy, the oldest daughter, was 9. When they got this car, Papa told her, "Now, sister, I want you to drive this car." "But Papa," she replied, "my legs are too short. I can't reach the pedal." "That's all right, sister. I'll sit right beside you. And whenever we need to stop, you just tell me, and I'll reach over and step on the brake." And that's how they drove to town. Aunt Daisy gripped the steering wheel, which she was barely tall enough to peer over. Every time they needed to stop, she'd sing out, "Push, Papa, push!" And he'd reach over and step on the brake. Sometimes on rainy afternoons in my childhood, I would have my own visit with the character of Papa. Reading the yellowed newspaper clippings about him that lived in drawers of an awesome piece of Victorian furniture that I can only describe as a giant cabinet. It was constructed of mahogany with white marble on the surface in front of the glass doors of the shelves. This towering structure held books that were somehow important, but never read. Often I'd go into the living room, open the little drawer below the shelf, take out my favorite clipping, and read the caption, "Virginia's Pickle King." I'd sit on the Chippendale-style sofa in this usually empty room, a parlor, like the one at Okolona, my grandfather's home place, used only for visiting, and read this intriguing piece of paper, breathing its funny smell and fingering its yellow fragility. This was my grandfather. My grandfather had been a king.